Play Program Specialist for Magic the Gathering.
We're really excited to have you here today. We've got two major topics that we want to talk to you about. First is pre-release. We want to hear what you're planning to do for pre-release, what you're going to do in just a little bit here. And then we want to explain our Oath of Liliana promotion, which is coming up real soon. Pretty excited for that one as well. We're going to talk about, what strategies are, how you can make that work, and then additionally, we want to hear from you. So please feel free to post in the comments, tell us what your plans are, both to get those 8 drafts and also to make pre-release work.
Right, yeah. So do we want to kick it off with talking about pre-release? Coming up in a couple of days, right? I mean, everybody's gearing up. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, let's dig right in. So in terms of making pre-release work, our biggest thought is make sure it's fun. Pre-release is the time when most new players are coming out, and you want to make sure that this is going to be a great experience for those new players, that they're going to want to keep coming back. So in order to make that happen, think about how you're going to help them build their decks, what you're going to be telling them in terms of what the next event to come to is. Because pre-release is a huge opportunity for you to grow your player base. You see the most people then, and you want to be able to continue that growth as the set, as Eldritch Moon continues.
Yeah, really, it's sort of the place where you're going to see the largest number of players in a short period of time. Yeah. So make sure that you're, getting your messaging right for your players to have them come back in and week out. Make sure that if you have any kind of materials you want to give to your players on top of what they're getting at the awesome pre-release event that you're hosting, that you put those out and get those ready to call that back.
Yeah.
So
if you have, flyers, you can hand them out then. We've got some awesome stuff on the materials page. We'll dig into that more later. But, it's a great time to say our next event is launch weekend. What we'll be doing then is working with this Emrakul poster. If you win events, you get to put this sticker up on it and tell them, you can come to launch weekend and draft. That, that's the next part of it. We'll talk about drafts in a little bit. But make sure that you use announcements at pre-release to kind of fuel your players to have that funnel to the next set of events.
Right, and really focus your pre-release on that fun, right? Pre-release is all about the exploration of the new set. It's all about the excitement of opening up the new cards, right? Yeah. And understanding sort of the cool mechanics in the set, and everybody's just really having a great time. So really keep the focus on the fun, keep the focus on the engagement with the new set and exploration of the new set. And think about that when you're looking at things like how you might dress up your store, or what kind of activity you might have on top of your actual pre-release.
Awesome. Yeah, Andrew said, you're right, pre-releases are great for giving people a stellar introduction to the game. That's definitely what it's all about. We see that pre-releases are that time when new players are coming in, or players who have been out of the game for a really long time are returning. So you want to be able to see if you can capture those players, capture their excitement, and get them coming back again and again. So I think there's not too much else to say about the core basics of pre-release. Another kind of a little bit deeper in terms of the strategy of pre-release, we find it's really important to be punctual, and this can be super hard.
Right. Absolutely.
It's traditional that, at least when I was a player, I'd show up 5-10 minutes late to an event, and then events start. You can expect an event to start like 30 minutes late, but if you try and rein that back and take control of your events, if you always start your events on time, even if you have to tell a player or two, we've already started, maybe we can get you in the first round, or you'll have to take a loss, something along those lines.
Right. It's sealed, so you can definitely add a player after the event is fired and just give them that first round loss or whatever you need to do. Absolutely. The other thing too is, since it is sealed, right, you'll have that deck building time. Some players can jump in and still during the deck building portion get in there and still make sure that they make it in time for the first round.
That's another great part about pre-release that works for it really well. But the kind of overarching thought is, if you start to run your events and they start on time consistently, a player or two might miss one, but then your players will have that expectation that the store's events always start on time, and they won't show up 10 minutes late, they'll show up 10 minutes early.
Right. And then the other flip side of that, right, is talking about, making sure you communicate to your players sort of an end time, right, for your pre-release, right? Making sure that when you run your pre-release event, that you have a really good sense of how long the pre-release event is going to take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to have a good plan with your staff. There's going to be some number of issues that come up. You want to be prepared for what your solution is to different issues. If a player has no experience with Magic, what's your plan with that player? Who's going to sit down and teach them how to play the game? Who's going to teach them how to make a sealed deck? You want to be ready for all of these things. That new or newish player isn't going to want a lot of wait time between rounds. I mean, nobody wants wait time between rounds,
no.
but your players are excited. How can you mitigate that time? You want to have all these questions answered ahead of time.
Agreed. Yeah, and the other thing too is thinking about like how many rounds you're running for the pre-release, right? You really want your pre-release events to be more about exploring the new cards, having fun, right?
Definitely.
And getting a chance to socialize with your other players in this space, right? So you really don't want to grind out your pre-release, right, and have it be this long tournament-style process, right? Because most of your players that are going to be at your event generally will be, players that are either more casually focused or really just focused today on, hey, I'm a competitive player, but today it's really just about having fun and being able to build wacky decks and see what can happen. So think about that. Think about how many rounds you're going to run. Look at things like decoupling the idea of a tournament from the pre-release event and thinking of it more as just a celebration, right? That has some structure to it, so players know where to sit.
You can run a top 8, but you don't have to. You don't always have to think. This has to have a top 8 because it's a tournament, and that might not be right for your pre-release.
Right.
We're going to talk in a little bit about some stories. We asked stores what they were doing for pre-release, so we have some of your stories already. What I really would love is if some of you posted right now what you're planning to do for pre-release, because we want to hear it, we want to talk about it. A lot of stores do some really incredible, some really exciting things, and we would love to share some of those right now. We've already heard some, so we're gonna go through some of those ideas. But if you have anything that you're planning to do for pre-release, if you have any questions for us, just post a comment, and we'll read it off. We'll answer.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, let's see if do we have anybody out there that's got a great story to share?
Maybe not yet, but
maybe not yet.
We'll share.
Want to start with one of your stories?
Yeah. We'll share some stories that we've already heard in the Facebook group, and if anyone has anything else, we will take it from there. So, some things that I thought were really awesome was one store mentioned during the question of the week that they were going to have a mini mentoring program. Sometimes kind of that full mentoring program is a little bit much to take on, and so they just had mentors prepared for pre-release, so when those new players showed up, they had somebody to help them build their deck. And they had kind of people set aside for this, they had it all formalized, and they kind of talked through both sides of the equation so that everyone was ready.
We know that most of the pre-release is about the exploration of the new set, but oftentimes what you'll get is a number of new players, as we heard from Andrew earlier, right? As an introduction to Magic, they'll join up on the pre-release, usually by being referred by an experienced player. But it's just a great opportunity to prepare yourself, through a mentoring program for those new players, and make sure they at least understand the basics of the game enough, so that way those players feel more comfortable in playing the event, and the opponents that they're going to be playing against feel like they've actually they don't have to explain the whole game for them, right?
Absolutely. Kendra said, we encourage players to go zombie.
Nice.
We have a cosplay of Liliana there. Wow.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. We're going to dig into that a lot. Essentially, the set is all about zombies. It's all about Liliana and them taking on Emrakul. So there's a ton of different ways you can work that in. The baseline of having your players dress up as zombies, having zombie-themed food on hand, doing a zombie cosplay competition.
Wait, what's zombie-themed food, Rob? Can you explain that to me?
You could have like some Jello that looks like brains. You have like gummy worms.
Seems good. Yeah, I love those little dirt cups, they call them, right?
Oh yeah.
They're like the little Oreo cup, crushed Oreos, and they put the gummy worms out.
Yeah, it's the crushed Oreos and then something sugary also.
Right.
It's really good. We're pretty distracted, but it's all in theme. We've got another awesome comment.
Cool. Alex says that we do a raffle. Each pre-release you enter gets a ticket, and first prize is a booster box. Then we have stuff for second and fifth place.
Okay,
so that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great not to just be focused on, the winning of the event. When we were talking about not having too many rounds, maybe not having a top 8, another great way to do that is having, door prizes, having, everyone feel like they're winners. You can give out packs perhaps for just playing in rounds. There's a lot of ways to make this event feel a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more friendly and welcoming to that new player.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's all about really, just the celebration of the set, and any way that you can kind of keep that focus on the fun and just sort of amplify the themes of the set, right? Make the themes of the set your own, right?
Exactly.
So like, if you're going to do door prizes, think about fun ways you can give them out, as maybe the zombies in your staff can give out the door prizes and shuffle up the people or what have you, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah,
it's
great.
Yeah, we had funded
wow. You see this? Okay.
No, I didn't actually.
Go ahead.
Desmond said, one of our customers owns their own food truck, so before midnight, we'll be offering unlimited Eldrazi themed tacos.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool, Desmond. Yeah, I mean, not everybody has that kind of capability, but the food angle is a really important angle. I think at the pre-release, your players are going to be there for several hours. Being able to offer snacks or a full food truck is pretty amazing. Yeah.
No, and everyone has access to tacos. I'm interested, Desmond, as to what Eldrazi themed tacos are. Like you got extra lettuce like sticking out on the sides.
Who knows, right? Yeah, maybe
awesome.
maybe you name each one of them after the big Eldrazi.
The big
Titans,
three. Yeah, you have 3 options.
Right, and they're all different kinds of tacos. One's chicken, one's pork, one's veggie or something.
Yeah. Emrakul's probably veggie.
Yeah, probably is.
So another awesome idea is having your event have kind of that overlaid theme of zombies versus Emrakul. We had some stores talking up that option, so you could I'm not actually sure exactly what they plan to do, but we've heard about stores assigning roles to certain players. Either you're on Emrakul's team or you're on the zombie team, and then something happens. But it's just another way to get players involved in the story, get players really excited.
Well, and to that end, right, we have this great Emrakul poster, right, that you're going to be stickering with zombies, right, as the play continues on the pre-release. And that's just sort of an easy way for us to kind of inspire you to take it a step further if you want, right?
Yeah, definitely. You can have that poster in the store. You can have people taking pictures in front of it in the pre-release, getting excited for being able to take ownership over it later down the line at your next event. So you can always tie it all together. I think the next thing we want to talk about is open dueling.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
Perfect. So open dueling, again with pre-release being good for new players, is another option for your player. Say, someone brings a younger child or someone wants a little bit more play between rounds. Maybe they're just not 100% ready for the full pre-release. You can sell them 2 intro packs and you can have them play either between rounds or off on the side of the event. Those decks are specifically meant to be a good entry point for new players in terms of their themes and what's in them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great place to, get someone even that's not necessarily younger, but somebody that's a little bit more intimidated by the idea of kind of jumping into the pre-release. Plus, you can always say, hey, in addition to this cool intro deck, you're also getting a couple of booster packs from the new set, which is a great way to kind of have that pre-release crack in the packs experience and discovery of the new set while you're actually participating in the open dueling.
Absolutely. Just something for you guys to understand about open dueling. You definitely want to put that event on the books as a 2-person casual event. Those are really helpful for both your players, having DCI numbers, getting used to, for that newer player, getting used to getting put in an event, and just also for that record of play. We'd love to see that.
Setting up a designated space too is pretty important to the open dueling area. That way your players just know, hey, over here's open dueling, right? You can go ahead and participate in that. It's also possible that you can have players in between rounds jump into open dueling and participate in an open dueling event, right? It's a great way for players that finish up maybe early. You finished your 4th round of your pre-release and you kind of finished in 15 minutes and they want something to do before the next one fires. Open dueling is a good place to kind of sop up some of that extra time. Yeah,
absolutely. It's a great option, a nice add-on to pre-release, so definitely flex your muscles there and see how you can get the most out of open dueling. Different things will work for different stores, but definitely a great opportunity. Cool. But yeah, definitely continue to share your plans, your stories for your pre-release. If you have any questions about how this pre-release works, anything along those lines, definitely post in the comments. We'll address it as best we can. But I think we're pretty much wrapped with what we wanted to talk about for pre-release.
Yeah, for the most part. And if you're just joining us, we just basically covered sort of just some tips and tricks and some ideas to kind of get the juices flowing for pre-release for you as a store. So, talking about things like, focusing on the fun and the celebration of the set, right? Being punctual with your pre-release and using it as a vehicle to advertise your upcoming events. In addition, theming out your pre-release, right? Keeping in mind that your players are going to have a variety of skill levels and you'll want to offer, events that kind of speak to that. And, using things like the Emrakul versus the zombies, poster, right, as a way to kind of express the theme of the pre-release. those are really what we talked about, along with a little bit of open dueling talk. So
Yeah,
using that
absolutely.
as an opportunity as well.
Yeah, we'll return to that if we do have some time. We got another comment. Pretty excited. Don says we host all pre-release events as a party.
That's awesome.
Fully decorated. Last time we went all out with decorations. It's amazing what a little creativity, paper, and tape can do. So yeah,
That's
awesome.
great, Don. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you go down to one of those party stores, you can usually pick up a lot of really great supplies. I think this one in particular, Eldritch Moon, is going to be a little easier for people to kind of hit on because, you know, zombie theme, right? I mean, it's pretty easy for people to understand what to do and like to create some really cool things that can express the theme of the set very easily without you know, having to break the bank.
Exactly. And if you're looking for a little bit of extra help, you can just pop over to the WPN materials bit. It's under the resources tab, and there's a ton of really awesome things that you can find there. So I think we still have the Eldrazi lanterns, those cutouts that you can use to continue to decorate your store. We've got life-size Planeswalker posters that are huge. You can put one of those up in the store. A lot of things that you can find there, and then flyers and posters so you can always have something to hand to your players. Have those future events advertised. At pre-release you want to be advertising for launch weekend. At launch weekend you want to be advertising your future events, standard, draft, and game day.
Right, absolutely. And one of those pieces, of course, we talked about was this big Emrakul poster, beautiful Emrakul poster that you're going to sticker up with zombies as your players basically take on the role of Liliana's horde, trying to take down Emrakul. Something that you can use over and over again throughout the course of the Eldritch Moon season, right? And kind of leads right into sort of what we're talking about next, which is the launch weekend, right? What are you going to do there? Well, launch weekend is, oftentimes a time when people get the first opportunity to draft the set. So that's going to be a big part of your launch weekend experience, more than likely. And players are going to be interested in getting their hands on, a draft experience. So one of the things that we are running here is basically a draft promotion for you guys for a few weeks. So, Roscoe, you want to talk a little more about that?
Yeah, let me spell it all out. So a little while ago with Oath of the Gatewatch, we did a similar promotion. So you may already kind of have a sense of what's going on here. With Oath, we asked you to run 2-headed giant events. And here, we think that draft is really one of the key ways to enjoy this set. So between the days of July 22nd and August 24th, if you can run 8 Eldritch Moon draft events, you'll get an oversized Oath of Liliana card. Now, we have some articles up that show you the size of this card. You may already have the other Oath cards. It should be the same size as those. You can kind of complete the set. We really know that, us, you, most people who love Magic and the game, the community, they have some collecting itch. So if you want to complete that set, this promotion is definitely for you.
Yeah, and the thing with it, too, is it really is just run the 8 events during that period of time. You don't have to worry about reporting it in some strange way. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just run the 8 draft events, schedule them, run them, report them as you normally would. This shipment of the oversized card will trigger automatically for you.
Exactly. You haven't missed scheduling anything in the Wizards Event Reporter. Don't worry for a second. We'll go in and we'll take a look for all the stores that have ran these events already, and then we'll send them out. The one last thing we definitely want to mention about these 8 events is they do have to be competitive. So these events, don't click on that casual button in the Wizards Event Reporter, click on the one that says Magic. That means you need 8 or more players. You want to report your events in real time as they happen.
And you can also, of course, use Friday Night Magic Ranked as well. So either one of those 2 will trigger it. So, and I assume that a lot of your stores will probably be running the drafts during Friday Night Magic to get you to that 8. But think about your whole launch weekend. And you can use it as a great way to get halfway or more there by just firing 8-person draft pods all weekend long to get yourself your little oversized Liliana card.
Yeah, we're going to dig in on a ton of different ways to get more drafts, to get more players excited, and hit that magic 8 number, to rally your community, to make it happen. And we want to hear what your ideas are, the different plans that you have, what special promotions or events you might be running that you think players are going to be most excited about. And we're going to go over just some ideas that we have shared from retailers, stories I've heard in the past. But most of all, I want to hear what you have to say. So post something in the comments if you have a plan, if you have a way that you think is really going to get your community excited about these events, and we'll definitely share it out with everybody But let's dig in. What do you think
Sure.
are some good ways to get to 8 drafts?
Well, I mean, we mentioned the draft weekend.
Yeah.
Kind of taking the idea of launch weekend and just kind of making it draft weekend, right? Making it all about the draft, right? Running firing your drafts as often as you can. Once you get 8 people, you can just do the draft, right? I mean, and then go ahead and set up another event, right? And then another 8 people show up, boom, another draft, right?
Yeah.
And you can schedule these events, in real time, right?
Exactly.
You can just go in, schedule the event, and boom, it's set up and ready to roll.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one easy way to get there. Launch weekend is a great opportunity for that because the natural inclination of the players is that they're going to be focused on drafting anyway.
Yeah.
Before they kind of build their standard deck. A lot of them don't have a lot of the cards yet. Maybe they just bought a booster box off of you or some packs that weekend, but they haven't really had a chance to even open up the cards and sort them yet. So draft is a great way to kind of explore some of those new interactions with the cards without having to, with having an event and getting product. So.
Exactly. If you've got your players who are buying that booster box, think about how you can convert that purchase into an event in the store. Ask that player, what time would work well for you? I know you're probably going to draft it at home with your friends. What time would work well for you to come in and draft in the shop? What can I do that would make that an awesome event for you guys in terms of, food, prizes, promotions? Anyone who's purchasing a box could end up drafting in the shop if you know how to swing
Absolutely. It. Right. I mean, you can just give them the draft pass that we have available, right? And tell them, hey, bring this draft pass back with your friends, right? And we'll go ahead and we'll schedule a special event for you. We'll set up some space. Maybe you can set up a day of the week that they can come back that works best for your store around your scheduling. And just say, hey, anybody that brings the draft pass back, we'll schedule an event for you. We'll have the space available. Maybe you can even, do something really cool for them, like as far as just kind of making it feel special for them. If you have something like maybe like some food or some other amenities that are available to those folks that come on back into your store.
Yeah. The draft pass, just to explain what that is, you may have seen it with Eternal Masters. We tried to create something that would allow you to turn those booster box purchases into events in the store, and it has 8 slots for your players. So if you have that player who is a little bit excited about buying a box and not sure if they're ready to draft in the store, they can use those 8 slots to kind of very formally rally their friend group and get people kind of excited to come into the shop. And then it has a little slot for the winners, so they can kind of keep it as a memento. And we should have a draft pass within the next few days for this set. It's not up on the website right now, so don't go running and looking, but we definitely plan on having it up very, very shortly.
Yeah, you'll get it and be able to print it out before your launch weekend events start.
Exactly.
So Alex asks, so the button that says Magic under the Everyday Events and Materials counts for this promotion? That is correct.
Exactly.
So the one that just says Magic, that's mostly meant for like Magic tournaments, right? The other buttons will say like casual or multiplayer, not those. What you want is that button that says Magic, or like I said, the Friday Night Magic ranked play, right? Exactly. So as long as you select Booster Draft as a format under either that Magic button or that Friday Night Magic rank play, you're good to go for those 8 events.
Yeah, and as you were saying, you can always do these types of things in real time. So if you have a Commander event scheduled, but you have a few more people who show up who want to draft and it turns into a draft, cancel out your Commander event that's casual and just schedule one of these competitive Magic events.
Or add it. Right?
Or add it,
Some players might still want to do their Commander in.
Exactly.
Right? But yeah, it's a great opportunity to really emphasize the fact that, hey, we're in a second set of a block, right? You're going to be drafting under the sort of the newer draft environment, which was established last year, which is 2 packs of the most recent set and 1 pack of the previous set, Shadows over Innistrad. So that's really exciting for players because now you're getting to see more of those new cards, right? You've been playing with Shadows over Innistrad for a while. It's becoming familiar to players. But now with Eldritch Moon, right, what's going to be exciting is you're going to be opening up 2 of those Eldritch Moon boosters and 1 Shadows booster.
It's the culmination of the story. There's a ton going on in cards. I'm really excited about this set.
Yeah, it's really cool.
There's a lot you can do to, make these drafts happen and get your players excited about them as well.
Right, and you can think about using some of the themes in the set for your drafts as well. Think about ways that you might be able to do things with not only the Emrakul and Zombies poster, but like the meld mechanic in the set, right, being kind of cool, right? And hey, could you, did you have a player that kind of was able to achieve like a really cool meld state, right? Oh, look, I got 3 meld creatures on the board, right? That's really crazy, right? You know, so highlighting that kind of really fun play from the set is great for the draft environment too. And you can think about rewarding these players as well as like your draft winners with like extra zombie stickers to sticker on the Emrakul, right? Absolutely. You know, as a way to kind of really engage them and make them feel like it's a little bit more than just the draft.
Yeah, if you have a moment like that, always, you know, put it up on social media. You know, you probably got people kind of on the periphery of your Facebook group or whatever other form you're using, you know, taking a picture of that moment after the event or a picture of everybody drafting for the first time can be a really exciting way to get more people coming into the shop.
Yeah, and we heard of a really great way to use that Oath card too. Why don't you mention that, Ross? So that's really cool.
Definitely. So once you've won that Oath card, you're going to have it in the shop, but if you want to, you know, give players a little extra incentive to coming to those drafts or winning those drafts, you can have the players who, say for example, you know, all the players who won each of your 8 drafts sign that Oath card at the end, and that way they're immortalized in the shop. Right.
You can just get like a silver or gold marker and sign along the edge if you don't want to deface the card proper, right? You know, that's a great way to do it. But yeah, it is a way to kind of make their mark on the shop, and it's a kind of a, you know, semi-permanent sort of, you know, certificate of you know, appreciation and accomplishment for the players.
Yeah, I agree. The larger idea is, how can we rally our communities to share this goal with us? So you can talk with your players that you're trying to get 8 drafts, and then you get this card and they're involved because they get to sign it. It's up in the shop. It's something they helped earn. There's a lot of different things you can do there. It reminds me of a store that I once heard of trying to reach Advanced Plus, and they really rallied their community. They had this big dragon mural, and they took Post-it notes that were yellow, orange, and red, and then each time somebody played in an event, even like a 2-person casual event, they wrote their name down on that, and they put it up on the Dragon's Breath. And then once the Dragon's Breath reached a certain point, they were at Advanced Plus.
Awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, that's a great. And you could do, you know, similar things with that Emrakul and zombie stickers, right? It's, you know, once your store reaches maximum coverage of Emrakul, right, or what have you, you could go ahead and have a celebration in your store.
Absolutely, I love that. Yeah, definitely want to reward your players for helping you out to reach this goal. So if you know you're very clearly tracking it in one way or another, you tell them there's going to be an awesome celebration event if you hit that end mark.
You could do birthday draft. You know what birthday draft is?
No, what's that?
So birthday draft is fun. So birthday draft basically means like when somebody has a birthday, you do 4 booster pack draft instead of 3 booster pack draft, right? You know, you could do that as a fun celebration event, right, where people buy into 4 booster packs and draft 4 instead of 3, right?
Yeah, I like that a lot, definitely.
That's fun.
Yeah, there's a ton of ways to get your community excited about these events. So definitely, you know, talk with your players. If you have someone who you feel like is a real community champion who really brings in other players, helps rally the team, you know, you can always speak with that person directly and be like, I'm trying to do this, you know, do you think you can help us make it happen? Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the community is going to be your, you know, your go-to for this, right? I mean, they're going to help make or break a lot of these events. So, you know, engage them early and often, start talking to them at the pre-release, right, and get them hyped to come back for draft.
Oh yeah, we got another question. Awesome. So Alex Smith asks, do F&M drafts count towards 8 drafts, or are they separate? They are included, so they're not separate.
Right.
Say, for example, you have 3 drafts that are Friday Night Magic and 5 just other drafts that you happen to fire, then your set, you've got 8 total. Those F&Ms do count.
Right, so remember, once again, F&M ranked under under your scheduling, hit that button, you'll select booster draft from that, right, and that will count. The other way that it'll count is if you select the magic button on your everyday events, right, and then select booster draft from that. So either the F&M ranked option or the magic, you know, play option will give you those, you know, points toward your 8, right? And the other thing too I want to just mention is, again, just to reiterate, we're talking about the promotion running from July 22nd to August 24th. So make sure that your drafts fall within those that time frame. So
it is only a month, so that's why it's important to think about, you know, maybe there's a day where I can get multiple drafts happening. You know, if I celebrate and have this huge party, you know, maybe someone's birthday party, or maybe just launch weekend, and you say, oh, we're going to do rolling drafts all day. We've got, you know, these 3 or 4 things going on. We've got door prizes, you know, we've got all kinds of other options.
Right.
You know, food's coming in one way or another. It doesn't have to be a food truck, but if you've got something special going on all day during launch weekend, maybe you could fire off 5 drafts,
Right.
and then you've just got your FNMs and you're over the hump.
Yeah, if you have space for, like, let's say 24 players,
Yeah.
right? You know, you could run one draft at 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday, one at 3 in the afternoon, and
Yeah.
one at 4 in the afternoon, and just do that rolling draft, right? Where
Exactly.
that way the players that didn't show up for that first draft, right, still have the opportunity to make the second draft. Or if the player winds up scrubbing out or whatever of his first draft, then that player can participate in another draft a little bit later in the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if anyone has any kind of plans that they think are going to get them to 8 drafts, any special events that they're planning to run, or has any questions about either pre-release or this promotion, the Oath of Liliana 8-draft promotion, definitely let us know in the comments. We're happy to address that. That's what we're here for. We definitely want to hear what you have to think about it, and we're happy to kind of dig in.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to talk about, Roscoe, on the draft promotion or drafting in general?
Yeah, I do have a few other just kind of strategic notes
Great.
to wrap up with. I guess something that we feel is really important is, say, for example, you have a draft event, but you don't get 8 people, make sure you still run that event. That's super important to build consistent habits for you and your players. I went to a Modern Monday event for, maybe 2 months or so back when I was a player before it ever got more than 4 people. So if you still give out prizes, if you still run the rounds in the Wizards event reporter, your players are going to get that play experience that they want. So you just, always launch the event if you can, and your players will then build a habit. If you say, oh, we didn't get 8 people, and then you don't run the event, then your players won't know to come back next week. They won't expect that event. So always run the event if you have enough people, and always give out prizes. Use the Wizards event reporter, because you'll still get credit for that event.
Right, absolutely. And if you still want to actually engage them in a draft-like environment, right, when you don't have as many as 8 players, if you don't have the minimum to run an actual draft, right, there are some other draft formats that you can use for those players. You can change the event to Magic Casual and run those. You can do things like doing a Winston or Winchester draft, which are 2-player or 4-player draft formats. So that way you don't have these players that show up, are ready to buy booster packs and draft for you, and then you turn them away because you didn't have 8 players.
Yeah, absolutely, super important. Another cool kind of story that I heard about a little while back was some stores in Kansas were kind of doing an inter-store competition. So everybody from one player base would kind of head over to another store, and then the 2 stores would, I'm not exactly sure how they ran it, but those players would compete against each other, and they would then travel to the next store next weekend, and they'd kind of almost run like an inter-store league. And the way that worked is at the end, the winning store would hold on to a trophy, like it's football essentially.
Yeah, that's great.
The home team keeps the trophy. So, a lot of stores think that they're in competition with each other, but you can accomplish a ton if you work with nearby stores.
Yeah, and that's even as simple as, like, if you have an area store that's kind of close to you, right, calling them up and talking with them about, hey, when are you scheduling your events, right? So that way players can maximize their time at both locations.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you want to, start some friendly competition, everybody shows up at one store one weekend, you run a few drafts, everyone kind of reps their hometown jersey, as it were, and whoever has the most hometown champs then gets the whatever kind of trophy you decide on. You hold on to it till next set. There's a lot of really great stuff you can do there, especially when stores are working together.
Yeah, it's great.
Another kind of just brief idea about how to make it work is, you could bundle together a bunch of drafts. So if someone wants to, be in all 8 of your drafts and then guarantee getting their name on that Liliana Oath card, you could use that as a little bit of a promotion. Definitely a lot of options.
Absolutely, right. There's just so many ways that you can kind of play around with the set's themes combined with the excitement of drafting to make these things really fun, right? So just think about, like, even just small ways that you can make these 8-person drafts, be something a little more special because it's part of this cool promotion that we're running.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. There's a few other things, but I think what we might do now is kind of go back from the top, just hit on some of the key notes, just to give everyone who hasn't been with us from the whole time some information, and then additionally give everyone some more time to add any questions or comments they may have. If you have an idea that you think is really awesome, definitely share with the retailers that are with us in this group.
Okay, great. Yeah, do you want to go ahead and just, so we started off the whole talk today, the live stream today, talking a little bit about the pre-release, talking about the focus on the fun, keeping it as casual as you can, right? emphasizing the fact that this is a new set, exploring the themes of the new set, being punctual with your times and having your players understand your start and end times.
Another really key thing that you want to do is try and find a way to work in that story. So whether it's the Emrakul and zombie decoration, or players showing up dressed up as zombies, there's a lot of ways you can generate excitement, and it doesn't just have to be extra prizes. It can be you're changing your story to Innistrad.
Right. And then we also talked a little bit about open dueling as a way to capture some of the players that might be a little too intimidated by the pre-release experience, or players that show up a little bit later. Also players that really, have nothing to do in between rounds and would like to have another opportunity to play some more Magic. So that's what we kind of talked about with the pre-release, and then we kind of started talking about our draft promotion.
Exactly. This is similar to the Oath of the Gatewatch event, except for that we're not asking you to run those two-headed giant events. Here, we're asking you to run 8 draft events between July 22nd and August 24th, and if you're able to do that with your players and your community, you win an oversized Oath of Liliana card to display in your store, and you can kind of complete the set if you were able to participate in the first promotion.
Right, and the big thing there is scheduling those events. It's just gonna be part of your normal flow, right? You don't have to worry about doing anything special. The important point is that you're going to go into Wizards Event Reporter. You're going to click on either that Magic button and pull down Booster Draft as your format for your event, or you're going to click on that Friday Night Magic Ranked button and pull down Booster Draft and schedule that. If those are the ways you've scheduled and reported your events, it's going to count towards your 8. Don't schedule it as a casual event. Schedule it as either a Magic event or as a Friday Night Magic ranked event.
Yeah, pretty much for most of you, nothing changes.
Right.
You can just continue to run booster drafts. They do have to be, as you said, competitive, not casual. Right. Bowling events, having food or door prizes, there's a lot of different things that you can do. Additionally, if you have, some promotion where you're trying to rally your community, you've got that Oath card that you're trying to get your players to, work towards, either by some visual in the store that they're completing or working on, or you're telling the players that if they get this and they work with you and you make it happen, then we can all sign the oath together. It's kind of immortalizing the community as it is right now, immortalizing your players in the shop.
Yeah, and one other way we talked about the potential to get to those 8 drafts was by using the draft pass. This is an idea we started with Eternal Masters, right? And we're carrying it forward for Eldritch Moon. So that'll be available on the WPN resources page probably in a few days.
Exactly.
So definitely before launch weekend starts. So you can use that draft pass as a way to take somebody's booster box sale that they've made with you and turn it into an event. Tell them to come on back with the draft pass with the 8 players that they want to play, and you can set up a little event in store and count that toward your 8 events.
Yeah, and it's a nice tool to have players get that customized feel. This is your event.
Right. So it looks like we're just about out of time, Roscoe.
Yeah.
If you have any additional questions on this promotion that we're doing with Eldritch Moon, on your pre-releases, and just on sharing your experiences, please post these things in the WPN group. If they are questions that need answering to, you can also give retail support a call as well.
Yeah, shoot them an email, give them a call.
Yep.
If you want to continue this conversation, post in the comments thread here. We'll definitely be popping in and happy to answer those questions.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your stories too after the event. Share your pictures on the WPN group. Tell us, how you made your Eldritch Moon pre-release and your draft weekends, a success for you.
Yeah, keep us in the loop. If you have something really special, you can email us at wpnstories.wizards.com, and then additionally, you can always use the resources on the WPN webpage. I actually just ran through that a little too quickly. It's not .wizards, it's WPNstories@wizards.com. Sorry about that, I got a little ahead.
No, that's all right. So for that, I'm Chris Tulak. I'm the In-Store Play Program Specialist for Magic the Gathering.
I'm Roscoe with the trade team.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks.